for our listeners that are not in Canada, we have the Juno Awards, which are the equivalent of the Grammys. So, it's hard enough to get nominated for a Juno, let alone win. And you've gone one for one, winning best, I believe it's best new group at the Junos back in 2008. What did that mean to you? What was that experience like? And how crazy is that you have a Juno Award? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. No, it was really nice. I mean, at the time, I think we were just like focusing on just like touring as much as possible. So we were in kind of a different mind frame, but it felt really good. Like it felt like because it's the first thing that your like people like your parents would know that that's a significant kind of thing to have. And and then you're also like it came on the back of like we were touring for like 4 years or something like that, like pretty much straight. So it was like kind of a cool thing to be able to kind of get to have that happen, and you're kind of like chilling for that whatever those couple of weeks, and it's pretty fun time.
It's always a little strange when someone that wins best new artist, it's like on their third album. They've already been out and doing
Yeah,
it for a decade, but they say it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation. That's kind of what it's like.
yeah,
We
for real.
Yeah, we mentioned before, you've now been a professional musician for 25-30 years. We're not exactly sure at this point. What do you attribute your longevity to, and how do you actually keep your career fun after all these years and not just burn out and get tired of it?
Right. I think it's like important to take breaks when like after touring, like kind of like do the touring for the records as much as you have to do, as much as you need to do. But then like not go right into doing another record, like just taking good breaks in between, I think is really key. Like I think there's times when we didn't do that. And like I think mainly in between like Welcome to the Night Sky and New Inheritors, where we just kind of like toured and toured, like made Welcome to the Night Sky and just toured for like 3 years and didn't really set any break time. We just kind of recorded New Inheritors as we were touring and then kept touring. Like, I think that was like bad idea.
When first starting out, could you have ever imagined the level of success that you've had with your music career?
No, not at all. No, no. I think like when we first started out, we were just kind of, I think just doing it just for the kind of just for ourselves, like, and then just the idea of being able to actually like go to another city and play a show and people will actually show up to it is pretty crazy. I mean, it still feels kind of crazy, like even now, like it's weird. Yeah, it's great.
So if you could sit down with any person, living or dead, for a conversation, who would it be and why?
Uh, I don't know.
It's such a
That's a
tough
good
question.
question. That is a tough question. Conversation with anyone, living or dead. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't have any like real crazy.
You don't have any
I think
heroes
like
or any, you know, Tom
I
York
think
or something?
Tom York could be cool. James Bridle is a really cool. I'd want someone that was living probably because
Just so it's
it
not
might be
so
a little bit too
awkward.
creepy. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
awkward if they're dead. James Bridle is a really great. He's a writer, philosopher from the UK. He'd be kind of a cool person to talk to, I guess. Tom York, yeah, for sure. Nigel Godrich, one of those like heavy duty musicians.
Hmm.
David Byrne, I love David Byrne too. He's interesting. I'll say one of those guys, all of them.
Awesome. The pandemic has been really hard for most people. It's been really hard on a lot of industries. The music industry, the entertainment industry has been hit as hard as any industry. Touring is where musicians make most of their money. So how has the pandemic affected your career, and how have you kind of adapted to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely we can't play shows or anything like that. So I've just been writing more music. So that could be good or bad. It's probably a mixture. No, I think it's good. It's like I think if as long as it resumes fairly soon, like you know, just I've had a lot of time to kind of like work on more new songs and more material. And I think in a way that I haven't been able to ever, like, since we started getting busy with touring. Um, I just, you just don't have the time to write the amount of songs that you maybe should when you're making new recordings. It's kind of, you get caught a little bit between like just trying to tour. Um, so you're, and I don't regret any of the records that we made or anything like that, but it's just nice to have like way more than enough material and just to see what happens with when you have that, you know, when you have that at your disposal. It's also cool to not have it. There's something to be said about like, all right, we only have, you know, a year and then we have to have these songs done and we have to be recording this. That does something too. So maybe you're not gonna, maybe I won't make any better of a record by having more material.
Mm.
But it's nice to have it's nice to feel like you have the options anyway.
So what's the biggest show that you've ever played? So we're thinking back to the good old days pre-pandemic, live shows happening. What's the biggest
Right,
show you've
right.
ever played, and what was it like to play to a crowd of that size?
I think the biggest one, I mean, I guess it wasn't really our crowd, but whatever. We opened for Paul McCartney in Halifax, and that was like, I think by the time he played, there's like 60,000 people, but I think when we played, there's like 30 or 20 or probably 30,000. And so that was a pretty big one. We've done like Pemberton was really big in BC, and we did like a New Year's festival in Vancouver before that was like probably like 20 or 30,000 people as well. So they're pretty crazy. It's really nuts. But it's obviously not 20,000 people there for us, but but it's still cool to play. Like yeah, cool.
Rumor has it that you guys were actually handpicked by Paul McCartney for that show. Is that true, or is that just rumor on the street?
I think that no, I don't think he had any knowledge of us before. I think he wanted to pick a band that was from Nova Scotia. He wanted to have the Nova Scotian acts opening for him. So I think we were one of, there's probably a handful of bands that were sent his way, and then they just chose a few. I think that's how it went down. Yeah.
So it technically it was handpicked, but it was for popular, you know, being a popular band in the area that he's performing, essentially. But what does it
Yeah.
feel like with 30,000 people? Like, I don't know, I don't have a reference point. What does it feel like you walk out, there's that many people? Does it change how you play? Does it change how things sound?
Um, no, not really. I mean, sometimes those, I guess like playing any festival, like if you're going to play, there's a bit of getting used to the way that it sounds like on stage and stuff. Like it's like, and I think we were pretty young. At that time, it's probably one of our first times where we played like a big, huge open air thing. But I no, yeah, in terms of like the nerves or anything like that, it feels good. The more people that are there, it feels like wow, yay, it's great. I think it's just fun.
Were there any live shows that you played where you were opening for a band that you were already a huge fan of?
Yeah, lots. I mean, like those Frightened Rabbit tours that we did. The what else? I mean, we've opened for Paul McCartney. We've opened for Pearl Jam. We did a show with them. The Hold Steady, we're big fans of them. Yeah, a lot of the tours that we've done, it has been that has been the situation where we've just been like, you know, big fans of the band that we're playing with, and yeah, just feeling lucky that we get to be there. Wolf Parade was another band that was like, we were all pretty big fans of that band.
So I'm ashamed to say that I am not familiar with Frightened Rabbit's music. If there was one album that I start with and that our listeners start with, maybe we'll boost their Spotify plays with the listeners of this podcast. What album? Where would I start?
Oh man. There's probably two. I think I would start with the latest. There's probably three that you could probably that are kind of interchangeable. But their latest record, I don't know. I think it's I forget what it's called actually. Painting of a Panic Attack. It's a long title. their latest one's fantastic. I would probably start with that one. A lot of people really like they have one called Midnight Organ Fight. I think it's called that. I'm pretty sure it's called that. That is like probably technically their biggest record. So that's probably one. That one's really feels really like major chord kind of positive vibe kind of record. So that's a good one to start on. But I really like the last one they put out, and the one just before that, Pedestrian Verse, is really fantastic record. So I would say those three would be in any order. His Scott's vocal is really amazing on the latest one. But yeah, there's something. I mean, those I would say that those are the three ones that I would probably point you to.
No, knowing me, I'll just go listen to the whole discography anyways.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but
listen,
that's a good starting point. Yeah.
Yeah, I would start with those three, and if you like, kind of like, I guess their last one's a little darker. So if you like, and the Midnight Organ Fight one's more like kind of a little bit more upbeat, I think. But they're fantastic band, beautiful music.
If you look back at your entire career, you've accomplished a lot. Lots of fans, like cult following, mainstream breakthrough, number one singles, Juno, all that stuff. You know, that's an incredible career, an incredible resume. Do you still have some dreams, some musical dreams that have still not been attained that would mean a lot to you that you're still working towards?
I think just like being able to tour. I mean, after this pandemic, just being able to tour regularly again, and maybe trying to tour as much as possible in different places. Like we've never really toured a lot in the States. That would be like really nice to tour a lot over there, and just to continue. But for the most part, just to be able to continue to make records and be able to like play live and get back playing festivals. I think that maybe that's a good first step.
So this is the final question. If you could go back in time and you could sit down with your 16-year-old self, if you could share advice with everything you've learned up to today, what advice would you give cute little 16-year-old Paul Murphy?
I don't know if I don't think I was that cute. No, I would I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know. I would probably just tell them to stick with it. I'm not sure.
That's all good. That's good advice. Just stick with it. As a musician, you need that perseverance for sure.